Hey guys, welcome to the Pre-algebra Converting Between Systems of Measurement video. So how can we use conversion factors? Well, they're super helpful because sometimes we need to convert the unit of measure that we're using. So if I know that I traveled a distance of 13 miles, but my British friend doesn't understand miles and he wants to know, well, how much is that in kilometers? Well, I can use conversion factors to tell him, right? Or if I know that a certain football player can travel at 50 yards in 8.3 seconds, and I want to know his time in meters per minute, I can find that. So the first thing I want you to do is get your book, look in the very back, like open to the very back. As you can see, this page here is actually pasted to the back cover, and you see a table of measures page, okay? And it tells us a bunch of different conversion factors, such as 1 mile is 1,670 yards. A pint is the same as 2 cups. A cup is 8 ounces, such and so forth. Okay, so that's going to be super helpful as we start to get into some of these problems. All right, so let's check this one out. 13 miles, and that looks like a B. I apologize, it's a 13. 13 miles is how many kilometers? Well, I don't know, but I can figure that out, right? So what I'm always going to do is start with what I know. Okay, I know that I have 13 miles. Okay. Now, what am I going to do to that to make it kilometers, right? Because I want to get rid of miles and make it kilometers, which means I'm going to have to cancel that unit out. Well, I'm going to go to my conversion table, or my table of measures, and figure out if I can go from miles to kilometers. So let's see if there's anything in there that relates miles and kilometers. And, well, let's see. Keep going. Well, there. Check it out. 1 mile is, and it's kind of shady or hazy, but that's an approximately. That sign right there looks like that, so it's approximately. 1 mile is approximately 1.609 kilometers. So I'm going to come down here and write that. Okay. 1 mile is approximately 1.609 kilometers. Okay. Now I'm going to actually use this conversion factor to get rid of miles. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to turn this conversion factor into a fraction. Okay. Now there's two ways I could actually do that. I could say 1 mile is the same as 1.609 kilometers, but I could also say 1.6609 kilometers is the same as 1 mile. Okay, these two fractions are saying the same thing. Now I'm going to multiply my 13 miles, and I'm actually going to make that over 1. Okay, we can always make everything over 1, times, and I'm going to use this one, and let me show you why. 1.609 kilometers over 1 mile. Now, why did I do that? Well, I have miles on top here, miles on bottom here. When you have it set up like that, you know what you can do? Cancel your miles. Okay, so now we're just multiplying fractions, so you multiply straight across the top, which would mean you're taking 13 times 1.609. Okay, and if you take 13 times 1.609, you get 20.917. And what's our units? Well, it was 13 nothings times 1.609 kilometers over 1 times 1 nothing is just 1. And you know what? We can actually simplify that and turn that into 20.917 kilometers and be done with it. So what does that mean? Well, it means that 13 miles is approximately 20.917 kilometers. So why don't you pause the video, and I want you to try this one, okay? And I'll go up to the conversion table if you don't have that in front of you, and pause there. But I want you to take 452 grams and figure out what that is approximately in ounces. So let's go to the conversion table, and then we'll pause there, let you try it. So from grams to ounces, well, let's see. I see something that has ounces and grams. 1 ounce is approximately 28.35 grams. 1 ounce, or OZ, is approximately equal to that. Okay, so use that, pause the video, solve that one, and let's see how you do. All right, so I used what I figured out from my table of measures to develop my conversion factor. And remember, there's two versions. One is 1 ounce over 28.35 grams. The other one is flipped, 28.35 grams over 1 ounce. So I need to get rid of grams and go to ounces. So again, I'm going to start by writing what I know, 452 grams. And I'm going to put that over 1, okay, because I know I'm going to be multiplying fractions. And I'm going to multiply that by the conversion factor. Well, this one has grams on top, so I need the one that has grams on bottom so that I can eventually cancel and cancel. So I'm going to select this one. Okay, so that's 1 ounce is the same as 28.35 grams. All right, so how do we kind of use that and look at that? Well, I can cancel grams on top and bottom. And now really I just multiply. So I have 452 times 1 ounce. Well, that's 452, the label would be ounces, over 1 times 28.35 nothings, so that's just 28.35. All right? Now I'm not quite done because this denominator is not 1. Okay, I need that denominator to be 1. So what I'm actually going to do, and that's kind of like the long way of thinking about it, you could also just take 452 divided by 28.35 because that is literally what that says. 452 divided by 28.35. But I like to be a little thorough and say, well, I need this to equal something over not 28.35 but over 1. So the question is, what do you do to 28.35 divided by itself, 28.35, but then you need to do the same to the top. So you're taking, again, 452 divided by 28.35. And if you take 452 divided by 28.35, what you get should be, and I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth, 15.94. Okay? 15.94, and our label is ounces. Okay, 15.94 ounces. So what does that mean? Well, it means that 452 grams is approximately 15.94 ounces. All right, so those shouldn't be too bad, but what we also need to do is learn how to convert not just single measures, right, like 13 miles, but actually convert rates. Okay, so we have a rate of 50 yards per 8.3 seconds, right? Maybe it's a football player. He can run 50 yards in 8.3 seconds, all right? But I want to know what that is in meters per minute. So what I actually have to look at is say, well, what do I need to change? I have yards, but I want it to become meters. I have seconds, but I need it to become a minute. So I'm going to have to change both yards and seconds, okay? So what I would do is I just pick one. I usually pick the top one first. Let's change yards to meters, okay? So I have 50 yards over 8.3 seconds, and I'm going to multiply that by something. Okay, now that something has to get me from yards to meters, but sometimes I can't go directly from yards to meters. Maybe I need to go from yards to feet first. Let's see if there's a yards to meters. Okay, I'm not seeing a yards to meters on here. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is go from yards to feet first, okay? Because then I know, you know what? If I get feet, then I can go from feet to meters with this conversion factor right there, okay? So, how do we go from yards to feet? Well, I need to cancel yards, which means whatever I multiply by, it better have yards on the bottom. Okay, well, what conversion factor would have feet up here and yards on bottom? Well, I know that there are 3 feet in every 1 yard. So that's what I'm going to use. Now I have yards on top there and bottom there, so I can cancel. So now I'm taking 50 nothings times 3 feet, which would get me, well, 150 feet over 8.3 seconds times 1 is just, again, 8.3 seconds. Okay, cool. Now, I've gone from yards to feet, but I need to go from feet and get it to be meters. So let's go back to the table and see if there's something that gets us from feet to meters. Right there. 1 foot is 0.3048 meters. Okay, so let's use that. 1 foot is 0.3048 meters. Okay, now, again, I could also write that as 0.3048 meters is the same as 1 foot. Okay, so let's see which one I want to use. I have feet on top, but remember I want to cancel them and get meters. So that means whatever I multiply by needs to have feet on bottom. Okay, so which one of these has feet on bottom? Well, this one. Okay, so it's 0.3048 meters over 1 foot. So now because I have feet on top and feet on bottom, I can cancel. So now I'm taking 150 times 0.3048. Right, 150 times 0.3048 meters is going to get you 45.72 meters. And that's going to be over 8.3 seconds times 1 nothing is just 8.3 seconds. Okay, so we now know that our distance is going to be well, we have our distance in meters, right? M stands for meters. Okay, so 45.72. We have meters on top. We want meters on top. But we still have seconds on bottom. We want minutes on bottom. So we need to get rid of seconds and make it minutes. So what conversion factor can I multiply this by in order to get rid of seconds and get minutes? Well, conversion factor that contains minutes and seconds. Well, I know that 1 minute has 60 seconds. I also know that 60 seconds is 1 minute. And let's keep in mind, I want to cancel seconds. So I need to multiply by something. Well, if seconds is on bottom here, then seconds needs to be on top here, which would mean minutes needs to be on bottom here. So which one of these matches with this? Well, this one, okay? So we're going to put the 60 seconds on top over 1 minute. And let's see, well, I have seconds on bottom, seconds on top. I can cancel those. So now let's multiply. 45.72 meters times 60. Okay, and if you do that, what you end up getting is 2743.2 meters over 8.3 times 1 minute. Well, that's pretty easy. That's just 8.3 minutes. Okay. But let's keep in mind, I want to know in meters per minute, not meters per 8.3 minutes. So I need this minutes to become 1 minute, right? So what do I do to this thing to make it, instead of 8.3 minutes on bottom, to just be 1 minute? Well, what can I do to 8.3 to make it 1? Well, I could divide it by itself, which is 8.3. But if I do that, got to do the same to the top, right? Okay, so just divide that by 8.3. So on bottom, we know 8.3 divided by 8.3 is going to give us 1 minute. But now let's take that 2,743.2 meters, and let's divide that thing by 8.3 as well. And when you do that, I'm going to round to the nearest meter. I'm going to get 331 meters in 1 minute. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, I'm going to put my answer in right there. That means if you're traveling at 50 yards in 8.3 seconds, that if you kept on going, right, for a minute long, you would travel 331 meters. These two things mean the exact same thing. All right, guys, that's all I have for you in this video. Thanks for sticking with it. Look forward to seeing you in class. We're going to talk more about all this stuff, and I'll see you then.